Hey guys, Christian the Haver Man coming back at you with another discussion video today on the Coalition of Scrubs. But before we get into that, be sure to go check out all those links down in the description so you can check out everyone else's channels, including mine. Be sure to go give them all some love. They're all awesome creators. We're all making some great videos here. So anyways, without further ado, we might as well just hop straight into today's D-time, in other words, discussion time. And this time around, I know I'm saying time a lot, we are going to be talking about Instant Fusion. And I'm actually recording this just after the announcing of April 2020's ban list. We got a little update that Instant Fusion is going from 3 copies down to 1, and that's why I kind of want to talk about it today, because I want to talk about whether or not Instant Fusion going down was really justified. And we all know the real reason that Instant Fusion was limited, and that's because of Millennium-Eyes Restrict and just all these... basically the relinquished fusion monsters, because they're all level 1s, so they're all instant fusion targets, and they just, I think the big justification for putting instant fusion down to 1 is because Konami is like, well, instant fusion right now basically acts as 3 more Called by the Graves, but the issue is not instant fusion itself, it's the monsters it's bringing out. And it's really only one monster, and that is the big bad boy Millennium-Eyes Restrict, just because this is what acts like the Called by the Grave. Instant Fusion itself is not the Called by the Grave, it is the Millennium-Eyes Restrict. So my question is, why did Konami not go after Millennium-Eyes Restrict? This is the same problem I have with people wanting, like, Verte Anaconda gone. They want it gone because it's nasty with one other card. It's like, well, then why not just ban the one other card, because you can still top deck that card. With Instant Fusion, they're limiting it because there is Millennium-Eyes Restrict. There's really not much of any other reason, because a whole lot of other strategies that are playing Instant Fusion for their extra deck, that are actually using it to bring out their own monsters, they have different reasons for doing it. Like Thunder Dragons, they have to bring out Kaminari attacks so that they can bring out their Thunder Dragon Titan. So really, Instant Fusion going to 1 kind of destroyed Thunder Dragons, because, I mean, Colossus is already banned, so thanks Konami for killing one of my favorite decks. But anyways, I mean, Millennium-Eyes Restrict is obviously the big issue here, not Instant Fusion, because, like, you look at it, there's not a whole lot of actual Instant Fusion targets. Of course, there's Invoked Regen, which is going to go up in popularity, or at least it was going to if Instant Fusion stayed at 3, just because, I mean, well, then you can play that and Millennium-Eyes Restrict in the same deck, so you can, depending on your situation, go on either one. Or if you're playing an Evoke deck, you can bring out Invoked Regen and use that for other plays. I mean, but they look at other decks like Prank Kids. We were using Instant Fusion to bring out Rocket Ride or Weather Washers so we can go off into Link plays. It just made the deck a whole lot more consistent and an otherwise inconsistent deck. And to see this card being put down to 1 is such a sad thing to me, because once again, it's not like it was broken in most strategies. The only reason that there was so much hate against Instant Fusion was Millennium-Eyes Restrict. So my question is, why did Konami not just ban Millennium-Eyes Restrict and leave Instant Fusion alone? Because really, once again, having 3 Instant Fusions is not a big deal, because first off, the monster cannot attack, and it will be destroyed during the end phase. Unless, of course, it's an Invoked Regen and it flips itself down, which, I mean, I can ignore that. But regardless of that fact, Instant Fusion in and of itself, like, okay, so I'm going to look here. I'm on YGO Pro right now. I'm going to search for fusion monsters that are level 5. And then I will look at all that are lower than that. And yeah, sure, there are a few targets here. But nothing absolutely broken. Okay, well, there's El Shaddai Winda, but I mean, we're pretty sure that's going to get hit pretty soon. Fluffles was another one. Fright for Sheep, being able to use that to go into plays just made the deck more consistent, because once again, Fluffles kind of struggle with that as well. I mean, for the most part, though, there's not a lot of big targets on here. There's only really the few that we've been seeing. And so I'm looking at level 5s, let me look at level 4s, just because we're just going to go through all this and just see. So obviously, Alternate Entity Norden was banned, so that's not a problem anymore. Muddragon in the Swamp, but who's really going to... I guess you could Instant Fusion with Muddragon in the Swamp, but it's more useful to have out on your opponent's turn than to use as a super poly target, so I don't think that's a big deal. Kaliga, I mean, yeah, but once again, you'd rather just be able to fusion summon that normally so that you wouldn't have to worry about losing it at the end of the turn. So, I mean, nothing really for level 4s. Let's check out level 3s. I mean, this list just kind of dwindles the lower and lower you go on levels until you get down to level, yeah, like for level 3s, there's only 7 total targets for fusion monsters. So, level 2s. Is there anything here? There's one level 2, and that's Time Magic Hammer, but it must be special summon with a specific card, so you can't even use that. And then for level 1s, there are 4 level 1 targets. One is Full Metal Foes Alcahest, one is Lyrilsk Independent Nightingale, I'm probably butchering that name, but, I mean, who's really seen that card before? And Thousand Eyes Restrict, I mean, yeah, this one's, like, kind of okay. This one is definitely not as powerful as Millennium-Eyes Restrict, which is our 4th and final target for level 1 monsters. So out of, like, this entire list of level 5 and lower fusion monsters, Millennium-Eyes Restrict is, like, the only one that really can be broken for just about any strategy, especially with the fact that Relinquished Anima just got released, so you can Millennium-Eyes Restrict and get the Called by the Grave effect and then link it off into a Relinquished Anima and potentially steal an opponent's monster. That in and of itself is kind of a broken strategy. I mean, the Thousand Eyes Restrict isn't as bad because you're just absorbing a monster on the field, which is still pretty bad, I guess. It is a little ridiculous for you to just be able to bring that out for free and be able to steal an opponent's monster. But, I mean, once again, we all know here that Millennium-Eyes Restrict is the biggest issue right now with being another Called by the Grave. And, of course, I guess Thousand Eyes Restrict does count too. But, just in general, Instant Fusion itself is not the problem. There are so many decks. Once again, Thunder Dragons, Prank Kids, Fluffles. We all would love to have the Instant Fusion in our deck so we can actually go into plays with our deck, where otherwise the deck would just be too inconsistent and we wouldn't have a means to get into it. So, I mean, yes, we still have the one copy of Instant Fusion, but how often are we going to see that? Let me actually look at a hypergeometric calculator right now and tell you the probability of being able to draw the one copy of Instant Fusion in the deck. Okay, so I'm on the hypergeometric calculator. Our population size is 40. The number of successes in the population is now 1. And our sample size, we'll just say we're going first, so our sample size is 5. And we're looking for at least one number of success in the sample. So that 1 is our X. So we will go ahead and calculate that probability. So the probability of us drawing one copy of Instant Fusion is 12.5%. So, I mean, it's not the lowest of odds, but let's compare that to having 3 successes in the population. Now our chances go up to 30%. So is having 3 copies of Instant Fusion in the deck really that broken? Well, okay, so that's just the probability of drawing exactly 1 copy. If you were to do 1 or greater, if you're looking at the probability of drawing 1 or more Instant Fusion, then it only goes up to 34%. So, I mean, it's... the odds are still not that high. Like, yeah, sure, it's definitely a lot higher than 12.5%, but 34% is not, like, something to brag about. You are likely to see it a decent amount, but it's not like you're going to be seeing it every time around. So, really trying to drop the consistency of Instant Fusion to me is kind of pointless. Once again, I would rather see Millennium-Eyes Restrict just banned. I think that would have been the better call for Konami to make, so that way these decks that are actually playing Instant Fusion for a legitimate reason and not just trying to be degenerate or get 6 copies of Called by the Grave, I think is much more valuable, and I think it can make the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot better. Now, don't get me wrong, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is in an awesome state right now. Just seeing stuff like this kind of annoys me a little bit. It makes me feel like Konami's taking a step in the wrong direction, and they're trying to shut down the wrong things. I think they should really be focusing on the problematic cards, not the cards that allow you to get into the problematic cards. Because the cards that allow you to get into the problematic cards can be used for things that are not very problematic. And that, to me, is what kind of drives me a little nuts. Like, they're just trying to destroy the root of the problem instead of the problem itself. And I don't really think that Instant Fusion is the root of any problem. It's just Millennium-Eyes Restrict. So, I know this kind of turned into like a 2-card discussion video, but I really just wanted to get into why Instant Fusion was limited and why I think it really shouldn't be. It was a really unnecessary call, and I think Konami should fix it the next time around on the ban list. But that's just me. It's probably not going to happen for a little while, because I also think Thunder Dragon Colossus should be unbanned, or at least limited. But, you know, I mean, everyone has their own thoughts, and it is what it is. So that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on Instant Fusion down in the comments below, whether you think it was a degenerate card or whether you think it was totally fine to stay. Let me know down in the comments. I like hearing what you guys think, and I like being able to chat with all you guys. So, once again, thank you guys all so much for watching today. Hope to see you all in the next video. Remember to have fun and make your move. Peace out.